You got it, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order for Community Development, July 8th, 2020 at 7 p.m. As permitted by the executive order signed by the governor in response to COVID-19 pandemic. We're handling this through the Zoom app. I did not receive any public comment. Oh, I'll do roll call again. Alderman Hawley?
Here.
Alderman Cazares?
Here.
Alderman Cantelo?
Here.
And Alderman Alexander?
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. We also have Howard Kapari and Eric Alvarez and Mark Miller joining us. And we have Alan Stevo, Alderman, also joining us.
Sarah Brown.
Sarah Brown, yep, and Ben. All right, so public comment. I didn't receive any emailed public comment. I'll make a couple concerns of, public did reach out to me after 5 p.m., but I'll bring up those concerns under the end under commissioner concerns about Ravens Place. So we'll go on to the first old business. I think I emailed them out before. I know at least I emailed them Howard, but I re-emailed out the minutes from the last meeting. If you guys want to wait till the end of the meeting to do the approval for that so you guys can read it, or you're fine with it now. I sent it out about half hour ago or so. So I can come back to that at the end.
I'm okay.
Anybody else okay, or you want to wait?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Fred.
All right. I need a motion to approve the minutes from our June 10th meeting.
Motion.
Motion by Cantelo, seconded by who?
Hawley.
Hawley. All right. Any questions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, first under new business, we have discussion and approval of a parking variance for Victor Lozano's property, which is located at 1964 Vermont Street for his new Mexican restaurant. It has not been approved yet out of zoning, so this will just table this for right now. Then we'll go to number 2. Notification of a resolution for a Class 8 proposal for Dollar Tree, which is located 12625 Southwestern Avenue. And Mark is on the line to give us an update on this. Mark.
Sure. Yeah, the Dollar Tree is going to be leasing from the current owners of the property. The taxes were estimated about $45,000 a year. We're looking to see a reduction of about 60% is what it works out to be, down to about $18,000, just to make it more in line with what the taxes are in the surrounding areas. We should be able to make all that up with sales tax revenue, utility tax, things of that nature. It just makes it more feasible for them to enter into a long-term contract.
I do have some comments on this. And we've done this in the past with other Class 8s we've approved. I know Howard has asked for them to, and they complied with some of the stuff we asked for, like the removing the old signage and the old balusters from the old car dealership that was there 20 some years ago, and some landscaping. But I'd still like those garbage trees either trimmed back, removed, replanted with new trees, just more attention to the exterior of the property. Is there anything we can tie into this before we approve it or conditionally approve it based on improvements? And I'm going to ask the other aldermen for their opinion also.
Sure. Yeah, and I can request whatever you folks think is necessary for it, to be honest with you. So.
And I know, Hawley, I think that's in your ward. I'm going to open it up to any alderman. You have anything to add to this?
They were going to do something on that cul-de-sac, I think, back there, right?
Right. I was there on Monday. They were already putting the poles for the fence.
All right, because the last time I went by there, it wasn't there. So they started this week.
Right. They started on Monday. I didn't go out today because I was tied in at the office.
Okay. I just want to make sure that gets handled because we've had a lot of complaints over the years from Olive Street.
All right.
And then I'm embarrassed to say, but I haven't even noticed, is that pole sign down?
Yes, and they put the new sign up with the brick on the bottom like we requested.
Okay. I guess I haven't been by there recently.
And actually, to speak in favor of what we wanted them to do by removing those garbage trees, you can hardly see it because it's behind the garbage trees. So
right.
It's a nice little sign. It actually is pleasant sign. A lot better than what was there before, but you can't really see it now because you see the big beech trees that I think it's beech or birch trees that haven't been trimmed back, and you can't see anything past it.
Right.
Yeah, I can address that with them tomorrow.
Okay, so is there any other Alderman concerns or comments? Well, I'd like to tie this to as a conditional approval based on finalizing what they agreed to with the cul-de-sac in the back and the extent of the landscaping we were originally asked to. And I'll make a motion on that binding that they do those improvements.
I'll second.
Is there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 3, we have discussion or approval to move forward to advertise for 11955 Vincennes Road demolition. This is the old Borden's Milk building. I think it's the last remaining building we haven't demolished yet along Vincennes. I'm going to ask formally through the committee here, but if there is any way possible, I know it's minor, but being on the Historical Society and discussing with the director there, if we can save just the terracotta Bordens on the main entrance at no additional cost, which I know a lot of demo companies are willing to do that. And if we can add that to the demolition, saving a piece of the history of the building, because I think for 80 years it was the headquarters for Borden's Milk. It's something historical, at least. I'd like to add that to this as long as there's no additional charge. Mark, Eric, did you want to update the board on this?
Sure thing, Alderman Bilotto. This is Eric Alvarez. In response to the Borden sign, I'm going out there tomorrow morning to have a look and just make sure it looks like it's feasible to come down. And then if it is, we should have no problem writing into the specification, which hasn't been advertised yet. And we can just include that in the contract price to demolish the building. So it shouldn't be an issue. And we will, as long as it looks like it's feasible to take it down, we'll write it into the contract and it should not be any problem at all.
And then did you want to give any update on the actual demolition to the board? Because some of these aldermen weren't I don't think on the council when we originally were talking about this several years ago. So you want to just do
Sure, I understand. Okay, great. So Alderman Bilotto, you're exactly right. This is the last remaining structure near 119th and Vincennes after the demolition of 11940 last year, the year before. And we've been working, basically Mark Miller really has been working on this since I believe 2013. And CDBG, I believe through some of the current COVID issues has recently has funding to do this now. So they've authorized us to move forward with up to $390,000 worth of building demolition and asbestos abatement and removal. And originally, I don't know, this might have been a year ago or so, we were authorized to use TIF 3 funds to cover the bidding and the construction coordination net. I checked the budget and roughly $7,500 of that remains, which should be plenty to get this out to bid and advertised and all taken care of. Like our previous demolition projects, this would be kind of managed minimally by Robinson, where the building department would be doing the construction observation. Not that there is much with the demolition, but that's just to keep the cost down because, I'm sorry, this isn't TIF 3, this is TIF. I don't know if TIF Mark 4. Miller's on the line. TIF 4, thank you. Sorry, that was a typo in there, TIF 4. Anyway, to save costs in that TIF, which doesn't have a lot of money, we'd basically just be doing the CDBG coordination and yeah, I think that's about it. Unless there's any questions.
Any questions from the alderman? If not, we need a motion and a second.
I'll move. Alderman Hawley.
Motion by Hawley. Is there a second?
Second, Cazares.
Second by Cazares. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And Eric, I think you're on the line for number 4 here. Review of the 2020 Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program, ITEP, funding and prospective projects. Eric Alvarez.
Yep, exactly. Thank you, Alderman Bilotto. Again, this is Eric Alvarez. This is very early stages of this call for projects. This ITEP, that's what they call Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program, is basically a federal grant money to do alternative transportation projects. This year, we've learned they're focusing on bicycle and pedestrian facilities and conversion of abandoned railroad corridors to trails. because of the focus on these two types of projects and the Blue Island's, I guess, demographics, we typically qualify for quite a bit of federal aid and or aid from the state to help with the local match. So I would suspect that these projects, we would, if we were to have a successful application, would come with very little to almost no cost to the city as regards to the local match. There's a couple of caveats on the type of project. Again, the additional state funding for the local match is only available this year for pedestrian bicycle facilities and converting abandoned railroad corridors. And as part of the ITEP process, they have to be named in a regional plan. Blue Island's active transportation plan constitutes part of that. So I would suggest that we pick a project that's mentioned out of there. Again, this is very early stages of this. I just wanted to bring it up to your all's attention. In the next 2 to 3 months, this will be coming online, and I'm hoping to get your ideas on some possible projects now. I know from my experience, I think we've got quite a few projects that could qualify, that have been talked about over the years, including, yes, thank you.
Allworm Drive, is that one in these plans here? I know it was discussed back when the Calsag Trail years ago was being planned out, and that would be under the bicycle path kind of thing, right?
It would be, and I believe that's part of the active transportation plan. That's connecting Allworm Drive and the area that used to be serviced by the Blue Bridge that's now defunct, and turning it into a spur track connection off the Calsag Trail. This was developed in 17 or 18 as an invest in Cook project, but it wasn't successful then. But I think it would be a good candidate for the ITEP project. We've got a couple other ones. Again, if we stick to the bicycle and pedestrian ideas, I know there's been a lot of talk about sidewalk and crosswalk improvements on the north side of Western Avenue. And then also there's been a lot of work done already on bicycle lanes, traffic calming, and road diet for Vincennes north of 123rd Street.
I'm supportive of this because it's free money if we get it. I just want to make sure everything comes through the right channels of community development and finance and even municipal in some cases, so that the aldermen have enough opportunity to make any changes if necessary if we do get the funding.
I would like to try and do something if we have money or can come up with a plan for 127th at Eisenhower and those tracks. It's very dangerous, and those kids are still, when they're in school.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get hurt there at some point. I'm surprised nothing's happened there.
Fred.
Okay, Alderman Hawley, this is Eric Alvarez again. That would be crosswalk improvements and traffic signal improvements at 127th in Sacramento by Eisenhower.
Yeah, or a pedestrian walkway over the tracks at that point, starting at the park and then over the tracks and then down, if there's a possibility.
And Eric, I'll remind you at this point, and then Alderman Hawley brought up the school thing. We can't forget about those speed monitors we originally discussed. You said it was a few months down the road. I just want to keep it on your agenda.
Right, understood. So that's safe routes to school. And I mean, this has been a very strange year, but typical years that would come up around August, September. So in the next couple months, understood. And that will definitely be on our radar.
Have you met with the school district yet?
Alderman Zylman, no, we haven't. I guess we could. I guess, or we could wait for the call for projects in either case.
Do we need an approval on this, Eric? Or just your
No. This is just for discussion. Hopefully and then I guess direction where we should take it to next. I've got Alderman Hawley's notes about the 127th in Sacramento, either pedestrian improvements or pedestrian bridge over the tracks.
I like sidewalk improvements on Western. I don't like spending too much money on the actual crosswalk within the street, other than just striping and stuff like that. But sidewalk improvements, I like that. I like Allworm Drive on this list here. And what Alderman Hawley said about the student safety along Eisenhower, those are good things. I think we can do that kind of stuff.
Sure. I think with the Eisenhower, like if it was going to be a pedestrian bridge, that would take a little bit of careful, like we would need to do a preliminary cost estimate to that because this funding taps out at $2 million. And I'm not sure exactly how much a bridge over, that's 127th Street, right? A bridge over 127th Street there might be quite expensive.
It'd be a pedestrian bridge over the tracks along, parallel to 127.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm not looking for a huge bridge or anything to go over there and you come down at Kedzie for all traffic. I'm just looking for a pedestrian passage over it.
Right, I understand. I'm not looking at the map right now, Alderman Hawley, but I've got a note here that it's over the tracks. And I know the area by 127th and Eisenhower. And 127th Sacramento.
Alderman Bilotto.
Yes.
Allworm Drive, are you talking about from Broadway to the Blue Bridge?
No, if I remember correctly, it was same thing like we did the spur along Canal Street. It was Allworm through to where it rehooks up by the golf course.
Because when you
The
go
old Rolls Avenue.
right, because isn't that Calumet Township, unincorporated Cook, Calumet Township?
Part of it is, and part of it's the Forest Preserve.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not Blue Island though, right?
The Broadway to the Blue Bridge is Blue Island.
Right.
Blue
but then when
Bridge
you get
to
Blue Bridge-
Ashland is unincorporated.
Right, in Calumet Township, I think there's a mile and a half of road there to Halsted, and then the bridge.
Yeah,
I
but
think,
this
is Calumet
spur, I think, which was in the CalSag Trail plan, is only from Broadway to Ashland. And I think it hooks up to along Ashland there. I think it's only.
I think that,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
only
that's right. And it was
Yeah.
to reuse a part of that, I think it was the Ashland Avenue Bridge, or I'm trying to remember now. I think this was 3 years ago now we were working on this, but I have a whole map of the project route because it was developed for an invest in Cook County in 17 or 18.
Yeah. The bridge is no longer
Yeah.
existent on Ashland, and the Blue Bridge is in Little Calumet now. So either way, it'd be
Oh,
pedestrian.
that's right. They took down the Ashland Avenue Bridge. I forgot about that.
They
Yep.
put a ramp all the way down to Ashland. I mean, it's still feasible, very feasible, maybe even cheaper now because you don't have to make that old bridge safety. But
Right.
it definitely would be something nice. It was big. It's been talked and kicked around for before my time, 30 years of making that some kind of walking or bicycle trail back there because it's undisturbed, always undisturbed, old Calumet Grove, Little Calumet watershed. It's never been developed back there. It's probably the only natural section of Little Calumet that within the area. So.
Right. Hey, and while I have you all, and we're thinking about ITEP is regarding the Vincennes Road diet and bicycle lanes and presumably stop sign at 123rd. Is that something that we should keep on the radar here, or would save that for another project?
I just don't want them pushing that we take over ownership of any more roads. So I know that was an issue with Vincennes touching it last time.
Right, and that would have, Alderman Bilotto, that would have been contingent on state funding. That's very typical for IDOT to try to push jurisdictional transfer of roadways when the municipality comes looking for funding. But this is federal, and if the state would be, if anything, just a match. So I wouldn't anticipate them trying, and we wouldn't advise to do any jurisdictional transfer of Vincennes to Blue Island. So
Yeah,
that is something we
100% against taking any more ownership of any other bridges or anything else like that.
I understand.
Right. Yeah. All right. Any other discussion on this one? Because just informational, we don't need a vote. We'll move on to number 5. Discussion.
There was just one thing, Alderman, on this one.
Yeah.
This is Eric Alvarez again. Would you all recommend us then to take this to municipal services maybe next week, or?
I would suggest the sooner the better. Yeah, I would take it to municipal and then finance. Is there a portion that?
Okay.
Yeah, I would think that order, municipal and finance.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Number 5, discussion and approval of the Blue Island Public Library's request to install a new book donation drop box, a 4x4 by 5 from Better World Books, which is located at 2433 York Street, the library. I have no objections to this. Howard, did you want to do a brief one-liner on this?
Yeah, so the public library director contacted me about this. They're collecting books. So instead of just dropping it off where people drop off books, the library books, they want to have a standalone little box for taking in books. It will either be near the parkway or the grassy area or in the parking lot. They still haven't decided. Neither have they provided me with a sketch, but at least they gave me the dimensions.
I'm fine with, if we make a motion contingent on Howard Kapari's review,
Okay.
if the Alderman feel comfortable.
I'm
Yes.
okay with that.
All right, I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Cazares.
All right, Bilotto and Cazares. All right, any, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries for number 5. Number 6, discussion approval for a business development grant program application for Min Jo Kim's property, We Care Cleaners along 119th Street there, 2347, for a new rear garage door through the business development grant. Howard?
So the property owner, Min Jo Kim, wants to replace a manual rear garage door with a mechanical one. Same dimensions, just changing, removing and replacing. So he's just seeking business development grant funding to do this. And I submitted the pictures, the images of the application that was submitted to me.
All right, any questions or a motion? Is there a motion? All
I'll
right,
move.
I'm looking at the pictures still.
Yeah.
It looks good.
is there a motion? Cause
Yeah, I'm
All right,
motion
there a second?
Cazares.
Hawley.
Second, Hawley. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, discussion and approval for business development grant program application for Thomas Cheadle's property, Dole Place Saloon, which is located 13011 Western Avenue, for a new storefront awning. I've been asking for this for a while. I said there's free money out there, so he finally applied. Howard, you got an update?
Yeah, so he submitted an application, which is complete. It needs to be reviewed at your level. If you look at the rendering from the sign company, they pretty much comply with everything except for the wording of the company itself that's paying for it. AE Gaming or something like that. It's on the main portion of the awning. We don't allow for any lettering on an awning. So my compromise would be on one side of the awning says video gaming, then double play, and the other side has the name of the company that actually is paying for that awning. It's similar.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I see what
similar.
you're saying.
This is similar to DMARS. Remember DMARS? Same
Yeah.
conversation. She said, well, they're the ones that are going to pay for this awning, right? Because usually the sign company pays for the advertising sign.
I do the same thing we've done in the past, just to not hold anything up. I'd like to make a motion to approve this based on Howard Kapari's revision and approval. If there's a second. Second by Cantelo. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, number 8, discussion and approval for business development grant program application for Jennifer A. Garwin's leased property, Edible Passport, which is located 13000 Western Avenue, for the new awning. I like number 3, just without even spending too much time looking at it. This is the former Maple Tree, it's been everything, York Restaurant, Islands, whatever. But I like number 3. So do we have any discussion, or Howard want to give an update on that?
Yeah, I like to give an update. So they provided with those 3 renderings. The ones that they're looking for is number 2, the one with the 2 globe on the main part of the awning, and then a little globe on each of the separate awning on the side building. So they're going with the 2 versus 3 or 1. And for them, it's because they want to balance the awning. Instead of having 3, it's too clustered. So instead of having 1, it's just a lot of dead space around. So they want to do 2 on the main awning. So it's number 2 or page 2 in the PDF that I provided everyone.
Yeah. I think
Well,
3
we
is a
usually
classic.
we don't allow anything on the slope
Yeah.
of the thing, so I'm okay with 3, only because it's a cool logo.
It's a class. I said 3, same thing. It looks the classiest out of the 3.
So 3
Yeah.
is the one with the 1 globe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my opinion. And
One globe for now. It could be cooler.
It could be cooler.
Oh, if you did it well.
yeah, the resident graphic designer here on the committee.
Well,
But yeah,
I
it's fine.
could say it could be cooler, but but given other awnings that we have gone up or that are up, it's nice.
Yeah, I think it looks very classy. And number 3, I'm fine with that. Is there a motion?
One question.
Motion.
One
Go
question.
ahead.
Yeah, question?
Yeah, let me click on that because I want to see, I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay. So it's the third one, page 3.
Yeah.
Okay, edible passport restaurant and bar. You see, this is the scenario. On the Valence part, they're gonna probably put, they wanna mimic the Valence lettering on page 2, which says restaurant, edible passport, and catering. Right? Instead of edible passport, restaurant, and bar. And then they would also like to have this logo on the side on each of the awning. Is that okay?
I'm fine with that. I think, yeah, it should be fine.
All right.
It's generally the same layout. It's just a different wordage and.
Right, it's different wordage, and I could capture that in the sign permit, but I just want to make sure that everybody here is in agreement. So we're not going to do the 2 on the main part of the awning. We're just going to do the 1 with the fork and the plane.
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
All right, who made the motion?
So then, wait, so they're still gonna do the lettering on the Valence as in number 2?
Yeah, that's what they want. They want to capture, it's a restaurant, they want to capture their name, and then they also do catering. This would be on Western Avenue.
Yeah, I just really like number 3.
Yeah,
And they're gonna
number
have
3.
catering on the side anyway. They're gonna have catering right there on the front. And they're gonna, that more people are gonna catch that as they're going by anyway than what's on the front.
I agree with Alderman Hawley. It's going to look a lot classier. With number 3 looks classier a lot. You know, it's really. I'm looking at both of them at the same time. It's the third one is captures my attention a lot more and establishes more. And if they're looking to promote, and this is just a suggestion, if they're looking to promote their catering, then they do have other areas to promote that, such as their other balance and or perhaps somewhere on the glass windows.
Yeah, I mentioned that too. I mentioned the windowed area.
Yeah, they're going to see the catering one. I agree with the one facing northbound. They're going to see that one first anyway. So
okay.
Yeah,
I think I agree with. I think we're all in agreement here. So all right, who made the motion?
I did. Cazares.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
Cantelo, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 9, discussion and approval for a new tobacco-related business named Glass House Smokes by Monser Samad, which would be located at 12601 Southwestern Avenue. I think this is the old Jimmy John's? Or around it?
It might be one of the interior stores.
Yeah. I have concerns just off the bat, just to bring a committee's attention, the percentage of tobacco sales in the business. Again, it's not my ward, but it puts me on a little caution. So I'll open up for discussion. Or Howard, do you want to give a brief update on it?
Okay, so the reason why I brought this business license application to the committee, because it's one of those things, it's a delicate one, it's a sensitive one. It's one that the state says if more than 80% of the gross sales for the year, it's tobacco related, and the state gives a very long definition and includes vaping, it includes paraphernalia and everything, cigars, then it has to be a standalone building. So this person put on a spreadsheet that 75% will be tobacco related, and 25 will be cell phone and cell phone accessory. I also concur with Alderman Bilotto. The percentage, it seems high. It's just 5% underneath the 80. But this is one of those things under zoning, under retail, it's a permitted use. So it's a business license application that I would sign off, but I understand, vaping and stuff like this is a sensitive issue with the tobacco. So I wanted to bring it to this committee for further guidance.
My issue so much is I frequent a lot of the businesses. Well, pretty much Blue Island Seafood. I frequent and it's hard enough to get parking as it is now. And I think that's why Jimmy John's was complaining of parking when I was frequenting them. They didn't have enough parking then. So I know that's an issue there, and this would be a lot. It would compound that. That's just my feelings. Any other aldermen with concerns or questions?
My problem is the schools are having a lot of problems with vaping.
Right.
And don't they have that already down by 117th or something? We have a store like that.
119th, yeah.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
it the same owners or is it different owners?
No, this is a new person. He communicated with me. The situation is like this. This isn't a regular corner market where you're selling food, beer, soda, and then you're also selling vaping stuff. This is going to be more geared towards the vaping culture.
Yeah, the schools have a lot of problems with vaping.
So this is a concern that I think the committee should look at further. It isn't, because he told me he's not going to be selling cigarettes, and that's considered part of the tobacco. So if he's not selling cigarettes, he's going to probably be selling other items.
And
So
the marijuana,
No.
what about the cannabis? That hasn't passed yet, right? We haven't, I mean, they haven't given out license yet, right?
Well, we passed the ordinance and no
Yeah,
one has applied
state
for a
hasn't.
dispensary.
Right.
Right, it's been extended because of the COVID pandemic. So guidance here. Do you want the percentage of
Are you
the
look-
tobacco related further reduced to balance it out?
Well, what are they going to do?
75% tobacco.
No, I know, but what are they going to do? They'll say, oh, okay, we'll reduce it to 50%.
I don't know. This is a hard one because
There's nothing in our zoning that doesn't allow for two of these within a mile of each other.
no. It's considered retail under the general zoning definition.
Yeah,
But
no, I know.
The added caveat is the state. The state has that because then it's a standalone. It's like a cigar shop. You know, if people are smoking in a smoking lounge, it's there. He's not talking about having it as a lounge for smoking, but he's going to be selling this type of a product.
So the tobacco, is it loose tobacco that they roll their own cigarettes?
Most likely, it's going to be a variety of a little bit of everything. You can't buy a pack of cigarettes. Let's put it like that. That would not be there.
But they saw that
The
vaping stuff.
sticks and then
This is what I don't understand. For cannabis, they have so many rules and laws about the security, but yet we don't require security for the vaping. For the, don't you have to be so old to vape, or what's the rule on the vaping?
Same as cigarettes, I believe.
right. I'm just looking for his application. Let's see.
Seems like there's a lot missing, but
Well, the problem is this. His description is
a real nice store.
retail, tobacco, hookah, accessories, smoke products, a nice, clean, good-looking shop overall. That's his description in the business license application.
I know.
Now, I also gave the section of the code, the state statute that talks about this. And under that statute, when it talks about the 80%, it gives more of the related stuff.
Well, I think Alderman Hawley, like he said, what we can do is just make a request, I guess, right? Is that what you're saying? Otherwise, I don't know what else we can do. Do you have a suggestion, Howard?
Since this is a sensitive issue with our young kids, the teenagers, this would be more of a glorified standalone store for that type of product. So if there was a higher percentage of other stuff that he's selling, then it wouldn't be so obvious. But then again, look at the name of the store.
Okay,
Glass-
even if the
Glass House
percentage,
Smoke.
even if he changed the percentage of what's being sold in the store,
No.
is there a, like Raeann was saying, is there an age limit?
Yeah, it probably says it in that standard that I put here.
Well, we can make some suggestions in the least of
Security, maybe?
what we want the signage and what type of displays we would like to see, or at least not see on the front, on his storefront.
So-
Compliance to our signage regulations and whatnot, because like you said, Howard, all we can really do in this situation is provide you with guidance, and in the least, what I would like to
So
keep in mind is, go ahead.
have people looked at the at the Excel spreadsheet that he submitted. It's the very last page of this document. I put it all together.
Yeah.
How he
Yes.
breaks it down is 30% is tobacco, 20% is hookah products and accessories, smoke accessories 10%, smoke and devices 10%, plants and herbs 5%. You see, this is where I start to get a little worried.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, if you have cannabis, you need security. I think we're gonna do this. You're gonna need security so the kids stay out of there. I don't know. That's just a suggestion.
Can we make a suggestion? They find a freestanding location
I
and
wish it
lower
was
the
like
amount
this.
of tobacco? I mean, vape?
The problem is that he falls under the category. He's less than 80%.
Yeah, but barely. And he's just making these numbers up. Does he have another store that he can prove these numbers?
Nope, this is his first store.
And then after he goes in, what happens if at his first year he's got 90% tobacco and 10% phones?
All right.
Hence the reason why I brought it to this committee.
Oh, Howard, can we make a denial and then take it from there and he can appeal? It's a very, we're treading
Tell
water
him he's
here.
close. He's just going to adjust it down so it looks
Yeah.
better on paper. But we have nothing to, you know, there's no way to prove that by looking at, you know, you could say anything.
I would have rather have like a convenience store and you're selling, let's say, tobacco or vaping, but it's like 15% versus 85, not here 75 versus
Right.
100.
Well,
And this is where
It's fairly obvious the cell phones are just thrown in here to give them something else to sell. I mean, the two things don't even make sense other than the fact that when the riots were happening, they were breaking into tobacco stores and cell phones. So this is a one-stop shop if you're going to be rioting. But I don't know. They're pretty diametrically different.
Does he have any stores? Can we find out?
No.
oh, he
He
has
doesn't
no,
have it?
first one. He says he's a Blue Island resident, so he's from the community. And this is his first business venture.
His address says Alsip. What address is that? Oh, that's the other guy? No, they're both on Alsip. Oh, emergency contacts.
well, I think it's a touchy issue. I think we can deny it and then have him make some suggestions. Are we issues why we're denying it is we feel it's a congested area. It's not freestanding. It's not, it's too high of vapor usage. We can throw a bunch of stuff in there that we've all been talking about and have him come back and justify that he's gonna
Okay.
not be purely vapor, you know, vape.
Okay.
The committee okay with that?
I am.
All
I
right.
am.
So Howard, do you want that in a motion or just we're making suggestions here?
In a motion, because
right.
I'll communicate with him tomorrow because he already called me earlier this afternoon and I said, look, I'm still taking it to the committee. I'm not-
Yeah. All right. I'll make a motion to deny and send back with suggestions that the committee has brought up. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Hawley. Any questions?
Yeah, maybe he could come to our next meeting or something and answer questions for him.
I'm fine with it.
But my question is, we are denying this on the basis that we're not comfortable with the percentage of tobacco product versus other products that he's claiming that he will be selling, correct?
I think that's
Correct.
the issue. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Um,
it's
And
too
just-
close, too
Like
close
I said,
to the,
if he could come to the meeting, maybe he could answer some more questions or give us a better description of what he's gonna sell.
I would be okay with more reassurance, except for this, very, very limited Excel spreadsheet that claims what he's selling without any proof.
and this is his first store. So this is just, you know, he knows what the law is, and he made it under the law for that specific, you know, if he owned 4 other stores and could show us some sort of basis for these numbers, that'd be one thing, but
All right. So there's a motion. There's a second. All in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 10, we have discussion and approval to allow the Blue Island Health Center to install 8 light pole banners. Each banner is 30 by 6 inches, which is located at 12757 Western Avenue. Howard?
Yes, this is a request that's coming from Cook County Health Services. I have here Marilyn Ruski. She's part of the sign company, the people that would be creating and installing these signs. They addressed it to the mayor's office because they wanted me to review it as a sign permit. And I said, we don't allow for commercial, private or retailers to be on city poles. So then a person by the name of, I have it right here. Karen Stancic wrote a letter, which I have included in this, with this agenda, which goes into greater details. So basically what Karen says is it's going to be 8 light pole banners, right? Are going to be between Prairie and Walnut on Western Avenue. They would like to have it there for 1 year. And they like to put 2 banners per each light pole on each corner. So two on Prairie and 2 on Walnut. So it would be 2, 4 banners on Prairie, 4 on Walnut. Now, this is a situation that's kind of outside of my control. It's not a private issue, I mean, private property, it's on public property. So I said the best I could do is bring it to the committee for further discussion or deliberation, since this is in the UTOD also. And you guys have more of a say in signage.
We've done this before. We've not allowed anybody to use the poles along Western Avenue, at least not in recent history. And we have our own banners, the census throughout the rest of this year alone already taking up. And we always have something up there that the city is putting up there. So I'm against allowing anything on Western Avenue, but the committee, I'm opening the committee up for discussion.
I understand with allowing one business to put up banners will entail in the future. So it's a tricky one. I like the banners. I like the what they look like. I think they would, add to the, integration between the Cook County Health System and Blue Island and our partnership. But I'm going to agree with Alderman Bilotto that although a great idea, I would love to see these up. I'm going to have to stick with what we've done in the past.
Any other alderman questions or concerns?
We have let the hospital do that, but that was over on Gregory.
Yeah, I specifically said Western Avenue, and those were only on Gregory. I'm not as against off Western Avenue, like the parking lots or something like that. But on Western Avenue proper, I'd like to keep any businesses doing personal advertisements on it.
Well, if they're, I don't know, they're leasing stuff in that parking lot, they could put them in there. And they got their own parking lot that they're leasing right next to the building that they could hang them there too.
Yeah, I have no issue with that.
So maybe you could take that back to them, Howard.
Yeah, so Marilyn is here. So Marilyn, I guess you could convey this their discussion to moving it towards the parking lot that they're leasing from the city.
Okay. So you say there's 2 parking lots that are potential areas that would be considered.
Yeah, I think, is the committee okay with the parking lots or off Western Avenue?
I'm okay with that, yeah.
So you might do other streets beside Western Avenue that might be near the 12757 building? Going east-west, perhaps? Would that be something? Or another street further west?
I mean, it's
would be more comfortable.
It's almost all residential off Western Avenue, so you wouldn't have anybody looking at it anyway. I would say the parking lots, you would get the most bang for your buck of putting the signs up, especially the larger one which you're renting, because there's no trees obscuring any views.
Could she look at maybe some billboards or something? I don't know.
Yeah, is the committee okay with that, or any other suggestions? All right, Howard, did you need a motion?
Yes.
I need a motion to deny banners along Western Avenue. However, with Howard's review, if they decide to put them in the parking lots or other areas, they can make the suggestion to Howard, and as long as they're not off Western Avenue, I'm okay with it. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any questions?
I do. So
Howard?
so this is the parking lot that's right next to pest management we're talking about, right? Banners on that parking lot?
Well, there's that one, and then they're leasing the one at Union, between Union and High.
Ah,
And
I'll
there's light
go-
poles, there's light
Yeah.
poles in the middle of that.
I'll
Isn't
go
there?
so far. I'll go so far as I have no issue with that parking lot either. There is light poles inside that parking lot.
okay, the two parking lots.
All right.
If I may, Fred, I mean, is that going to segue into the ownership and?
We're going to get into that in a second.
I
But
was just going to say, do you want to talk about that now or
yeah,
next?
yeah. We could talk about that right after we finish this one. If there is even a pole on the section we own, I wouldn't mind it on there. But
Just wanted to bring that up.
yeah, I know. All right. So we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. All right, so I'll segue right into that, as the clerk brought up, to the issue with the parking lot between Union and, what is that, High?
Yes.
Union and High. We own a decent 1/3 of that, proven without a doubt now. We
Would you
own
like-
1/3 of that.
Would you like me to share that?
Yeah, if you can't throw it up there, that highlighted one. We own the yellow. So it's a good, healthy portion of that lot.
So it's, if you go from the north, starting now, it's 50 feet on 01, 001, 39 feet on 002, 108 feet on 022, then 110 feet, I believe it is, on 023. And I did a quick count. It's 44 of the spots that we own.
Yeah, it's more than I thought we owned.
Yes, me too.
It's even more. I think it's more than 1/3, because that
Right.
northern corner is smaller.
Right.
So going forward, have we received a response from the new owners of Metro South about this yet? Because I know this is new information.
The new owners have been extremely silent. Larry Brozak from the county has been almost hounding me, and I'm like, look, Larry, you work it out with your landlord, renegotiate your lease. We own this parcel.
All right, so there's a couple issues I want to bring up through the committee and just get the committee support going forward with this. And I talked to Randy a little bit about this. Number one, I want those tow signs coming down because they can't tow off city-owned property without our permission. So I'd like to make that request. No matter what we do, those signs should come down. And then we got to find out who's going to maintain this property, because no one's maintaining it right now at all. No one's trimmed
looks
any
like
bushes.
crap.
Yeah, no one's trimmed any bushes. No one cut any
Is
grass.
that the right by D-Bars, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So last summer I went out and got people to do that.
Now, I met with the owner of the property, not Cook County, the owner of the property, and one of his investors a month ago. After our last committee, I met with them, and they wanted to, what's his name again, Randy? Dan?
Dan McNulty.
Dan. I met with Dan, and he was interested at the time to sell us, he didn't say give, sell us the park and the rest of that parking lot. He wasn't offended or whatever when I said, I think we own a piece of that. He just wanted it cleared. So that's where me and Randy got together and
Right.
talked to Kerry Horvath, and he was able to pull the deeds and found out that we own all that property. And we finally, without a doubt, know we own that property instead of just hearsay. So going forward, I think the city, we should, at least we can make an informal motion here that I don't know how this is going to resolve itself because it's all new information, but I would think the city would still be interested in those two parcels, correct? Are we still interested in that as a committee?
Yes.
The ones along Western Avenue?
Correct.
All right, so I'd like to, we'll tie this all together, make a motion that the city's interested in those parcels. We're not making an offer. We want to let them know officially that we're interested. And
It's three parcels. It's the last three is 001, 002, and 021.
and the park, right, which is two parcels there.
Yeah, there's two there, and it's 114. It's 005 in a portion of, I can't read this, in a portion of 008, but I can't see it on this.
So I'd like to, I need a motion and a second so that we can at least send to the attorney, and Randy can help with this since he's already been involved in this, of seeing if there's a way to clean this up somehow. And what I don't want to see is them selling it on the open market, because the conversation kind of leaned that way, that they were interested in just selling the property. And we don't want to see that happen. If there's some kind of agreement that be made with the city, I think it's in our best interest to at least maintain the park and maintain the Western Avenue lots, at the very least for public parking, because it's primarily used by our businesses. So I need a motion and a second that we would say this committee is in favor of continuing the discussion on what's going on with those two parcels. So is there a motion and a second?
Motion.
I'll move.
Cazares.
Or second.
Cazares and Hawley. All right. So, and me and Randy will send that to the attorney, and I just don't know where it's going to end up. Any final decision, anything, or any information would come back to this committee anyway. I'm sure this is a long discussion, but at least I know the committee is in favor, which is what we've always talked about. We're in favor of maintaining those parcels. My immediate issues is I want that sign to come down and someone to maintain that property. So I don't know how we're going to do that. Randy, do you know if we left off? We haven't heard back from them, right? So
no, we haven't. And I told the county guy who was a little, he was like, well, you have to get your arms around what you need. And I was like, I don't think we need more than the 30 or 40 we have 24/7. So I said, if I was you, I would talk with your landlord and renegotiate your lease and remove 022 from the lease.
Yeah, I would remove 022 and everything south of 022 because they would only need that northern corner anyway. It's the closest to the building. Right,
and I explained to Mr. Brozak that every time I've gone by, the lot is at least half empty.
Yeah.
That broaches another subject. Are the employees parking on Walnut and Oak and Prairie, which they are? We've gotten many complaints about that. So do we tell the county, tell your employees to park there? Do we put a resident-only parking on Walnut, west of Western, Oak west of Western, Prairie west of Western? I don't know. I mean, it's whatever the committee and whatever decides, the city council, because there's a parking issue now. We've gotten a lot of complaints from residents on especially Oak Street.
Yeah, so after this meeting, I'll put an email together and include the committee of basically that we're interested in that property. We want to know what's going on with the maintenance of the property, the signs of the property, towing signs. And then we still need to resolve this parking issue on the residential streets and having Cook County, follow up with their workers they say they rent the space for their parking lot and they're not using it.
Right.
So I'll write an email up together and I'll include the committee on it. Hopefully we can have some resolution on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So is that it, Randy? We know so far, right? About this parking lot?
And I think, Howard, you want to chime in? I think you didn't like the signage and how they were the sharp edges and.
Right. So yeah, the signs are pretty tall and it's metallic and someone could cut their ear or cut themselves passing by it.
Sharp corners.
So I was suggesting to Lawrence Broner to put some type of rubber edging around it so no one cuts their ears or something. But if we're going to ask them to remove it, then that's no longer an issue.
I think legally we can ask them to remove it. You can't tow cars off a property you don't own or are not leasing. So,
right.
And and there's also egress situations, just my assessor knowledge. There's no way to access our property without going through their property, and they cannot remove that access because it's been there for forever. There's no access off Western Avenue to our parcels. So there's a legality issue there too, that they can't tell our people they can't drive through their property to get to ours. It's kind of like the egress stuff when you talk about garage accessibility and stuff that we have in the city that's come up in this committee before. We're land, we're an island, right? The part where our land we own there is an island. The only way to get to it is through their property. So, and they can't deny our access to our property through their property because that's the way it's always been. We didn't create that problem.
It says that in the deed as well.
Yeah. So I'll compile an email and hopefully we can get some more resolution with this going forward. So, all right.
Bilotto,
yep.
you made the comment that the employees of Cook County Health were parking on the residential streets?
Yes, they're parking on primarily Prairie and Oak Street.
I thought at the beginning of this process that they said something about the employees will be shuttled into the building, not driving.
I haven't seen that. Alderman Hawley, have you seen that? It's in your area.
No. But they need to be parking in that other lot. They can't be on those streets. It is a slippery slope with resident parking only, because you're going to have it. Everyone's going to want it everywhere.
Yes.
But maybe we can do something like, 2-hour parking and enforce it for about a month, and then get them to get off of there.
Can we simultaneously also do that through, what is that, judiciary or municipal that does the parking stuff? At municipal?
I think it's municipal.
Yeah. Can we, is anybody on this committee that's on municipal? I'm not on it. Yeah. I can send a request. Who's municipal? Carr? I can send a request about that we're receiving issues with the parking. Is there any way we can do a limited 2-hour parking or something like that to begin with, just on, what's the worst street you think, Alderman Hawley? Is it Oak Street?
Well, the most complaints is coming from one person on Oak Street. Yes.
Okay.
Well, and exactly. And if we were to enforce the 2-hour parking on Western Avenue, to kind of steer the people to say, here's where you can park. Like I've said, that the people can, if they don't want to walk the block, they can park on Oak Street right there. And why would they walk the extra block?
All right, so I'll send an email also to Alderman Carr. I'll CC the committee, seeing if there's a way they can introduce the 2-hour parking or something to that effect. The committee can work it out along Oak, and then we can go from there. And if any of you are on municipal, you can bring up everything that was discussed in this meeting. All right, so number 12, do we have any update on Maple Tree Inn?
Is Ahmed on the phone?
It looks pretty bad. I rode by there the other day. It looks pretty bad.
Nothing's been done since they removed the old veranda. Nothing's been
I mean,
done.
there's like a big hole up there in the wall, so I'm sure animals are flying in and out. I mean, birds or whatever. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. So Maple Tree, nothing's been done. It's still, the owner did try contacting me, and I said, you cannot contact me. You got to contact the building department and the city attorney that you've already been talking with. She keeps trying to contact me. There's nothing I want to do or can do in this situation. They have to go through the proper channels. So, but nothing has been done.
Well, but there's a big hole. Like, I mean, I'm sure things are getting in and out. There's a big hole in the wall.
There was a hole in the roof for a year, Alderman Cantelo. I'm sure the building, I can't believe they're saying it's salvageable. I
can't believe they think that it's safe. I cannot understand how it can possibly be safe.
Oh, so that'll be another email I'll write about Maple Tree, and I'll email Ahmed and Carrie. What's the update with this? Because we already sent this to the attorneys. I mean, Carrie's already working on this, so I think it was Leslie actually, but I'll send it to Carrie and he can send it to whoever. And then as far as the update I have is that they put white paper in the windows, which is a huge improvement to the newspaper.
It looks better.
We have that. That happened finally. So, but it's now, there's no for rent sign there. It's just white paper instead of newspapers.
And you're okay with that?
No, it's better than before though. I got to take my wins as they come. That's the newspaper I was staring at for how long?
Oh my God, that's a pretty pathetic win, Fred.
Oh man. When you see it, it's 1,000 times better.
It does look a lot better than it did.
So, so that's my own update on that.
I just to go back to Maple Tree. When was that deemed safe? Was that like a long time ago or recently?
I don't know if it's ever been deemed safe by us. Has it, Howard?
No.
We're going off of what they're telling us. I don't think it's ever been deemed safe by us.
Yeah, and Ahmed mentioned the last 2 meetings that they're going to go to adjudication court because he already sent all the notification. And the only reason why there's been nothing is because of the COVID. Tomorrow they're going to restart court here. So
I'll send an email on that. So it'll be 3 emails at least you guys are going to be tagged on.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all I got for that. And building report was attached. Before I invite, I think Sarah's on the line. Sarah, you want to do yours and we'll go right into Kevin Art Alliance stuff?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Just for a quick marketing update. During the last 30 days, we've been updating the city properties with information for coronavirus, different policies, different city news. Also, this was covered the period where we had some civil unrest. So we had curfew information and things like that that we had to get out. And I think because of the nature of those items, we saw the second highest monthly traffic. I think the report I sent was a few days shy of the end of the month. So to update you, for the totality of June, we had 26,965 website visitors. And you'll see a variety of statistics about what they were looking at there. Produced several videos with coronavirus updates and different information from the mayor. And we were able to utilize a new tool on Facebook to get some of these important information, these pieces of information, especially when we had some curfew information that needed to be out there. Facebook's made available a feature called local alerts, and it really helped us reach a large audience. If you look at, I think it's page 6 of the report, it goes over the Facebook numbers, and you can see that we reached 54,405 people during the month. We had 500 page likes, new page likes, 551 new page followers, and some pretty high numbers across the board. And so that was nice that we were able to utilize that tool. And what that does is, if we have something important that we need to get out, the local alert, you can set it for a certain time frame, and any of your followers that are nearby will get it, and anyone that subscribes to it. So for example, I also used it just yesterday with the cooling center information. So it's nice to have that tool. I'm assuming it will be something that'll be available to us, at least for as a municipality. It shouldn't be a paid feature. So we'll continue to utilize that when there are those important messages. That pretty much recaps the report. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Sarah, this is Alderman Cazares. In your report, it says on June 25th, it took 1 hour for you to film, update a website, and social media.
Yes.
Is that
discount rate?
That's are you working as a team with? I mean, that seems like not enough time. I don't know. I'm just saying, you guys work fast, so congratulations on that.
And it is, I guess, it being in this field, you understand how much time it takes to put into some of this stuff, but we've been trying to be cognizant of city resources. And so certainly when we can economize things, we do. And so I try to be as, just take into account, just the bare necessities of what it takes to execute it. We spend far more time on things than we bill for, but it does encapsulate everything that happened that day. And when it comes to filming too, for city projects, we utilize Ben Tomera. So just, okay. I am there, but Ben does do the filming and the editing for that.
Oh,
Sarah, okay. Sarah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So like last year when we did that 4th of July thing, the mayor sent out several alerts about the 4th of July. Is there any way you could send out alerts, like when there's the weather, like, you had a nice little thing on Facebook yesterday about the weather?
Yeah.
Is there any way you could do an alert on that? Because the residents are not getting no alert. Some of these older residents don't have any social media, but they're
no, that's a great point, Raeann. One of the things, even a year ago, I think that we used a system called Code Red, but since then we switched to something, it's called Smart 911, and everyone that was kind of on that Code Red system, I believe, was imported into the Smart 911 system. But we've been encouraging residents and business owners to sign up. They can do so online on the website, or they can get a paper copy. We put it in the water bills. They can pick one up at the clerk's office.
Perfect.
And all they have to do is fill it out and turn it back in, and then they'll get those calls. But we've not done one for the cooling center information. So I'll get that over to Jim McGeever. I think that's something we can get out over that system.
Perfect.
And so you guys know too, the Smart 911 system, business owners can utilize that as well. So that they get the calls with information. And the police department added a feature onto the frontline reporting. which is a tool that you can access through blueisland.org. And it allows business owners to enter their key holder information. So if something were to happen outside of business hours and they need to reach, that the main person that can help maybe get in or provide assistance, business owners can enter their information there. So we're trying to encourage everyone to really sign up and get involved in this stuff, because as we've experienced in the last 6 months, things don't always go like sunshine and rainbows. So these are tools that are available now.
So Sarah, you did a real nice thing on Facebook about the cooling centers. Could you do one to join the Smart 911 so we could, send it out to our residents too? Or I could make a copy and drop it off in the mail in their doors or something?
Yeah, I'll definitely do another post about it, and I can share the application is several pages long, but even if they just fill out the first page, the one page of it, that helps. That's got a lot of good stuff in it. So I'll post with that and share it. And then, yeah, definitely. If you guys,
I could print it out and I walk every night in my ward. I could just drop it off at people's doors or something.
That would be great. That would be great. And all they have to do is drop it off at the clerk's office, and the clerk's office will take care of entering it.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else, Ms. Brown?
The pump on the watering cart, this isn't marketing related, but the pump on the watering cart is broken for the planters. So I'm going to put a call out to the businesses, but I just wanted to let everyone know, put it out in public here, that if anyone can, if you're near a planter, if you're a business near a planter, if you live near a planter and you can water it, that would be great. And hopefully this pump will get ordered and the watering cart will be back on duty soon. But
Ken Dompling said he's going to water them again. And I'll just make it clear on this committee, and I don't know, we made it clear 1,000 times, anything to do with the planters or flowers or Western Avenue comes out of the streetscape fund. I get asked that probably on a weekly basis of every PO that comes through, every invoice for a plant or a water bill, or it goes through the streetscaping. And I sit on finance and I still get it. So if there's any questions about it, let me know, because it seems like I keep saying the same thing over again. Anything to do with planters or flowers or the pots that comes out of streetscaping. It's like there's an extra 2 or 3 stops being put on anything like this. I think there's a PO issue going on with this tractor. It should come out of streetscaping. We should just pay it. It's $100. It's not like we're talking thousands of dollars. So
can we? It's not on the agenda though, so we can't really make a motion and get it to finance.
No, we've said this. It's nothing we have to make a motion on. It's perfectly above board. It's a streetscaping expense. It's just, I don't know why it's so hard to make that known.
Fred, would normally be done by the mayor's office, and she's not here for the rest of the week. I will talk with Pam Castro tomorrow and make sure that it gets entered somehow or another, and work with Topeka to get it through to the through business district, and we'll get it.
It just it seems like everything to do with streetscaping gets stopped and held up, and it sits for weeks before I hear about it. Like this, I heard about it today.
It just happened today.
Okay, all right. Well, this is not an example. There's been other ones though.
I understand,
Randy. It's been sitting on desks, and I'm like, it's $100 for O'Reilly Auto Parts to fix a tractor. Why is this not being approved?
Yeah, I'll follow up with that tomorrow for you, Fred. And
All right,
also, I want to let you know that Ahmed's on the line now. So
okay, all right, we can. Let me finish with with Sarah and Kevin, and then we'll go back to Ahmed. So, Sarah, do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you. Kevin Brown, are you around?
Tagging in, buddy.
All right, Kevin, you had you're piggybacking on what this committee brought up a few months ago, and I'm glad you guys are doing this. They want to do murals on the Easy Go gas pumps and building after the Public Works painted it all white. So, Kevin, do you want to discuss that?
Yeah. So this is something that the Arts Alliance is interested. Myself from the Arts Alliance, I'm interested in it. I do need to bring it to my board, but I don't think it's going to be a problem because it's not going to cost the Arts Alliance anything, I don't believe. But yeah, obviously the canopy and the sign are down at Easy Go, and everything's all covered up over there. And you guys had brought up before, doing some public art there, and it's something that as the Arts Alliance, we'd love to partner with you guys if you're willing to have us to kind of put together what the request for proposals might look like, and publicize that for you guys too via all the city channels and via the Arts Alliance channels as well. You know, my thought on this was, you know, I believe you guys had discussed just doing a certain amount of money per artist for the supplies. I guess my question is that still where you're at, or would you be willing to actually, you know, pay artists even just a little bit for their time? It's something that I think we don't do enough of. And I mean, not just we as in, you know, Blue Island. I just think, you know, all over the place. I think it's just it's unfortunately that people seem to understand that it's artists just want to go out there and create. They don't need to be paid for it.
No. And when our brief discussion, when we talked about this as a committee, it was just being thrown out there. I think Alderman Cazares brought up this idea originally. I think we can support, if you want to put a proposal together, unless an alderman wants to add to this, I think you put a proposal together. I think we're not talking a lot of money. I think it would greatly beautify it. I think we can work something out. I'd open up for discussion for the other aldermen and their opinions.
So obviously, I believe this is a great idea, but I want everyone to keep in mind that the canvas is going to be a problem. When those pumps were covered up with plywood and painted white, it looked they looked fantastic, and they looked like a blank canvas, and to say the least. But with closer inspection, the material used to cover those pumps, I believe, is plywood. And plywood with weather will wear and will split. And I believe in some areas, in some of those pumps, it's already showing signs of wear. So I don't want to move forward with whether it's going to be from providing a budget and using expenses to pay or to have artists paint on those or create artwork on those pumps when they're not going to last because of wear and tear from rain and just sun beating down on them. So with this project, we will have to, I believe we should consider replacing that plywood with something that's going to be a little bit more weather resistant and it's going to last. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, just to address that, as long as, I'm not sure what kind of paint or primer they put over that plywood, but if part of the RFP is that, you know, the city will either supply or pay for the supplies or reimburse or whatever we end up doing, as long as it's made very clear that, you know, the materials used have to be specified and approved, then I don't think that'll be a problem. It's wood, so if you cover it up with proper paint, it's going to last, and these aren't meant to last forever either. I mean, this is something that, you know, I mean, if they last a couple of years, they're probably going to need to be redone then, which is actually kind of a cool thing. We could do it every year, every other year, or whatever it is, as long as they end up lasting, we can see. But I think that's kind of a cool thing, because then you cover it up with primer and then you start again, and it's kind of an evolving thing. That was, you know, one of the points I wanted to make too, that yeah, these are temporary installations, and they're going to continue. They're going to need to be not like maintained to keep their initial appearance, you know, over the next however many years. They're going to need to be refreshed, like completely rethought, probably every other year.
So just to bring the committee up to speed, the gas station, we don't own it. First of all, we don't own the gas station. However, the tanks are still there. It's a lot of money to clean up the EPA violations through the roof. So with this committee, as you guys know, we decided to go forward, and we took down the canopy, and we took down the sign, and we cleaned up the property. And I know Jim was going to go in there now, because the weeds are starting to get, you know, more close to a foot high. He's going to go in there and weed whack and keep maintaining it so it looks 1,000% better. I think we're going to live with this piece of property for a little while, at the very least. We're going to live with it for the short term. I'm supportive of this. I think if Mr. Brown can put a proposal together and they say the wood needs to be replaced, I think we can replace some plywood. I think that could be in our budget. We're not talking thousands of dollars here. And I think since we have to live with it, I foresee it, at least it'll be aesthetically a lot nicer to look at. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Saugatuck, Michigan. Me and Stephanie used to go before we had kids a lot, and there was an abandoned lumber store in the middle of town, or before you get into the main street, and they made it into like an artist thing, and now it's like farmer's market, but the lumber yard is actually still there. They learned to live with it, and then eventually they didn't take it down. They made it part of whatever they're doing there, and you don't even notice it anymore because they have murals going on, they have artist thing going around, and they've made a use of the space. I'm not saying we're going to be there anytime soon, but this would be a huge improvement, and I think the cost is probably, without Kevin looking into it further, it's probably not going to be a lot. So I'm in favor of giving him a consensus to go forward and putting a proposal together. And then we still have to come back to the committee to finance it. So is the rest of the committee okay with that?
I am.
Okay.
All right. So there you go, Kevin. You can go forward with the proposal and we'll finalize anything you need us to finalize when you get it.
For sure. And I will follow up too with just some examples locally of some similar things that have been done, kind of piggybacking on what you said. I mean, in Gary, there's a few spots that they were boarded up buildings that they ended up kind of reboarding up and beautifying them with public art, and that's been like an ongoing thing too. So I think this kind of falls in line with that. And I'll if you want to, I can take some pictures of that and see what material they used and if it's any different than what we have on there, and we'll go forward.
All right. Anything else you got for us, Kevin?
No, that's it. I'll get back with you in a few weeks with my thoughts.
All right. Thank you. And if we need to have a special quick meeting to do anything, I'm sure we can. If you think we need to do something sooner than a month from now.
It might, that might be necessary because I mean, the later we get into the year here, obviously the harder it's going to be to try to squeeze that in.
All right. So let us know. All right. Howard wanted me to mention that he's working on the Southland EAF for the COVID for reimbursing through the grants. Did you want to discuss that at all, or just want to make the committee known? It's reimbursing the COVID expenses for the city through, I think it's a federal funding.
It's coming through. I have it here. So it's part of the Southland Emergency Assistance. So it's coming from that. It's for businesses that are small businesses that are eligible, employs 25 people or fewer employees, earn less than $1 million in annual revenue, located in one of the identified communities within the Southland, and have revenues decreased more than 25% because of COVID-19 pandemic, or suffered recent property damage resulting from civil unrest. The person to contact, her name is Sandra Wells from the Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago. And then her email address for those businesses that are interested in pursuing this is swells@nhschicago.org. So again, this is for reimbursement. The application deadline is Friday, the 17th, 2020 at 5 p.m. So this is the person you would have to contact, would be Sandra Wells.
The name sounds so familiar.
Yeah. I don't have a telephone number. I would give it to you. I just have an email address.
Howard, this is Sarah. Can you send that to me?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is one of the ones that Maris already sent to the committee.
Okay.
Right. She just wanted Fred to mention it in this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And the last thing I have, and Kevin, just so you know, back to the gas pumps, make sure you talk to Mark Miller. We received permission before to do the demolition and stuff like that. I'm sure we have to do some kind of permission for going forward and whatever we got to do, but I think Mark's got access to the property.
Okay, sorry he stepped away, but I'll let him know.
Let him know. And then the couple last things I got here. Last month we approved going out to bid on 2 pieces of property. They are now out to bid, so I'll restate the two addresses, and there's no deadline for bids to come in for these two homes the city owns. And I'll get you the addresses. I know it's 133 I think here. Let me see here. 13313 Rexford and 2811 Broadway. Those are two city-owned pieces of property that have been empty for at least 10 years apiece. Rexford's been more than 10 years. Rexford's been empty since I was in grade school, I think. So if anybody's interested, or you know anybody interested to completely rehab a house in Blue Island, contact Mark Miller at the City of Blue Island, and it's like a silent bid process, just like we've done in the past, and they can get themselves a starter home or something that needs a lot of work. I'll tell you that. But hopefully we can get something done on these properties. They are salvageable, according to Mark. So they need a lot of work. And then the last thing I got is I had a couple citizens complaints. I was out of town. And I said I'd bring it up in this committee, and I'm sure some of the aldermen have already gotten complaints. The last few weekends at Raven's Place / The Vault has been crazy on Western Avenue, meaning traffic-wise and the wrong way on Western Avenue. No masks visibly being seen, being worn, just chaotic in general. And I was just curious now with Ahmed on the line, or Howard, are you aware of anything at the city? I know the police department's been involved. Has the city reached out to the owner and is trying to work out something with them? Because there's been a lot of complaints from other businesses and residents that have contacted me over especially this last weekend, which I wasn't here, about public urination, no masks, wrong way on Western Avenue, so on. I'm sure you guys have heard something, right? So Ahmed or Howard, whoever knows, if anything you guys know about what's going on there.
Yes, this is Ahmed, City Building Department. Hello, everyone.
How you doing?
Yes, we had the task force meeting that we have on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Today was addressed that because on Monday, Chief Arsab mentioned, but not lightly today, she mentioned the whole spectrum of it. And what we talk at the task force is like we're going to try to get involved and try to get those the three owner of this restaurants and club to see what's going to be the outcome, because apparently on Sunday it was some sort of a protest. That's what they were saying. It was not actually activity, so they were gathering inside in the place. It was a kind of protest, and Chief Arsab explained the whole entire situation, and I'm sure Randy is aware of that, and Howard also heard on that one. Yeah, there was it's something we came up with, some sort of a different idea that we're going to be try to bring more information to them and try to bring it to a table and try to see what we can make a solution with this problem, especially with Raven.
Okay. I mean, Ray has been, up until recently, I've never received, outside of some small noise issues and a few wrong way on Western Avenues, we've never had the issue. I think it's been exasperated because of the not allowing so many people in the building, and they're outside now, and probably it's been added on to that. I know the urination thing, I'm not sure if you put porta potties in or not, but I could see people being outside all day and not going inside because they can't go inside because they got too many people inside. Well, they got to go somewhere. So I'm sure these are small issues that can be fixed. And again, he's how many years he's been here now? 10 years he's been in town. And I just want to make sure he's been told what's going on and not just a manager or something like that. I don't want to go down the path of Islands Bar where the owner kept saying, "Oh, I was never told. I was never told." I want to make sure the owner knows that there's some issues that can be rectified pretty easily. And we want to continue the good relationship we had with a business in town. We just want to make sure the laws are being followed and they're respecting the neighborhood, you know, so.
And I can add to that, Fred, if you like. I asked him as part of our discussion this morning, we talked about, I don't know if people realize he's got occupancy for upwards of 2,000 people on that whole city block. So if you take 30% of that, you know, you're looking
Still
at
a lot of people.
600 people, and he only had 462 people on Saturday and 250 on Saturday and 462 on Sunday. Well, you know, yeah, you're right, Fred. They're outside now, and when they disperse, it's a lot more noticeable. Yes, you're right, and that's kind of hard. I mean, we did talk about how Harry's Long Bar has been there for 25 years, and they're quite used to the parking lot next to them being quote unquote theirs, even though it's public. Ray understood that. Same thing behind Double Play. They're pretty much used to it. So Ray is very comfortable sending the overflow parking down to that metro lot on the bottom of the hill there. And supposedly last week, I didn't go do a count, but supposedly there was a sizable amount of cars that did go down that way. And I just don't know how long it's going to take to get that habit built in. But yeah, it's hard because, I mean, you know, he's got the whole city block on well, half a city block from New to Vermont. And, you know, when everyone's inside club and it's, you know, you don't notice it and then they disperse and whatever. But when you drive by and see, you know, and all his staff was wearing masks, according to him. I talked to him today after our meeting, and you know, that's a thing too. And Attorney Horvath is looking at if there's a way we can do something at the local level to have patrons, some leverage for us to have patrons required to wear masks when they're not sitting at their table eating and consuming beverages. You know, it's a tough situation. He's, like you say, Fred, he's been there for years and never been an issue, or issues have been minor.
So minor, yeah, compared to
Right.
other things we've had in town, you know.
Right, exactly. So when you put, you know, 400 people in a parking lot, that's going to be noticeable.
No. And I don't want a reputation we're discouraging. We just want to make sure people are following the rules, and we got to help people live together, right? Is that that's we're in the middle of everybody. So
in this situation, Ahmed and I, we walked over to that property right before phase 4. We gave them a copy, my 2-pager that I worked on, which talks a lot about, you know, indoor versus outdoor versus 25% standing. And we conversed with him personally right before phase 4, where you could have the indoor seating. And he is aware of the requirements. You know, it's not like nothing was ever conveyed. The two of us did speak to him. We already started having the health inspector, the new health inspector started on Monday, and she went out over to these properties today to rediscuss or re-educate the requirements that are there for phase 4 in the city's requirements. So slowly but surely we're getting there. And this is going to be a discussion that's going to eventually come up at finance with the for the ability of enforcement at the health level, to see if we could get the health inspector to do extra hours or extra days. Currently, she's only contracted.
You put in a cup or something?
Currently, Susan Wagner, the new health inspector, is a part-time hourly employee. She works 3 days, 8 hours. So she's working Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. There is a possibility. I spoke with her. Ahmed was also in this conversation. In the coming weeks, if she could work 4 or 5 days. She has some prior engagements that she needs to take care of, but she's open to working extra hours. But this is something that has to be discussed at the finance committee because of the way the part-time structure, the part-time job was offered to her.
all right. Thank you, Howard. And going back to Ahmed real quick, or Howard even, there's a business that opened up in the Ravens block. I think it's the clothing designer, something. I was just wondering if that's an official business or pop-up or what's going on.
Nothing came to me to review.
Nothing yet, exactly. I got the information about that today as well, and I went over and talked to Christine in the building department, and she was going to bring it to Ahmed's attention, and I'm sure there'll be follow up with that in the next day or two.
All right.
Yeah, we have not received anything yet in our area regarding the business.
Okay, Ahmed, going back to you, maybe you'll save me an email. What is the update on what's going on with the maple tree?
Oh, this is a good one. Tomorrow we have her in court because she did not comply with what we requested. We sent her a certified letter and we emailed her the information also. So we have her in court tomorrow, and that's going to be final now. And we're going to proceed with the attorney, and then it's. I mean, even the historical preservation, that's already put it. I mean, they already sent the message a while back that one is for demolition. So we're going to proceed in that area. So tomorrow we have her in court. So she will be in court. Yeah.
Can you, when the court's completed, can you give the committee an update, or you can give it to me and I'll forward it to the committee, whatever is easier. of what's going on with that, because I know I said earlier, nothing's happened in a while ever since they did the initial demolition of the veranda. So if
Yes,
you want to just give me an update how it goes tomorrow.
Yeah, that is true. When we sent the letter, she actually stood back and did nothing, and she was just saying that she was going to clean and clean, but that was not what we wanted, and that's not what we requested as a building department. And besides, she was doing a lot of stuff illegal because she didn't pull the permit for it. So she's already in a situation where there's no coming back. We got to go forward with our part from the building department. And so I'll keep you posted tomorrow as soon as the court is over.
Okay.
And going on the other one on Esparza restaurant, where I got you guys at the last minute there, where you were happy that you see the white paper, which is not what we want.
It's better than before. That's all.
Right,
It's
right.
better than
No,
before.
this the owner approached the building department and also another lease person that's going to lease the area. They're thinking of actually putting a catering type of a business. It's going to be almost like a restaurant, but then their process right now. So she's actually in the process of renting it out, and she's going to be removing the sign that is out there. That's what she said.
Can you ask her, that's a sign? And I think, I'm not sure if she took them down yet. The satellite dishes, there was 3 or 4 of them out there at one time. The sign and the satellite dishes at the minimum, and let her know there's a grant available for anything on the outside of her property. I offered it to her before, years ago, when we first started this plan. We have a grant that'll help pay for any new signage or removing the overhang that's there right now. There's money available. Just let her know. Remind her again.
Okay, well, yes, I've been doing that because I was already given the information by Howard to give, let people know regarding those grants. But yes, she is moving forward, and she's going to be thinking of renting the place and open it up for a business again.
Thank you. All right, one last thing. It just reminded me, we were talking about Old Western. Old Western was paved. They're done with that project. They're coming back to, Eric's still on the line, but it's going to be the same thing. They have still some touch-ups. They damaged some of the brick at the entrance to Old Western, which was in perfect condition prior to them repaving the street. Now they damaged a couple of portions of it when they're replacing the sidewalks. So they're going to come in and said they're going to replace and repair the brick they damaged. Doran's has replanted that area. They have replanted Dunkin' Donuts area. I came back to town. I still, the triangle doesn't look like it's been touched. They said they went in there and started cleaning, but to me, it doesn't look like it has been touched. And that's another person I have to contact tomorrow, since I just got back to town, and figure out what's going on with the triangle. But the 2 out of the 3 they've replanted. And I've gotten a lot of reviews on the entrance to Old Western that's 1,000% better, because in my entire, now I shouldn't say my entire life, when Ken Jellema lived down here, he maintained it. But ever since then, we're talking the early 90s, it hasn't been maintained. And that's how nice it looks right now. And it's not even that great. It's just a big improvement, kind of like the white paper on Esparza's. So just wanted to give the committee an update. So 2 out of the 3 locations we approved for replanting is completed. The largest one, though, I'm going to follow up tomorrow and see what's going on, because to me, it doesn't look like it's been touched. So that's all I have. Any other aldermen have anything to bring up, concerns or suggestions?
I do. This is Alderman Cazares. I just want to make a quick comment that I know a lot of the members, some of the members on this committee have worked really hard to get the CalSAC trail on to the point where it is now, and I'm sure it's going to be changing as we move forward. So along with getting that CalSAC trail to its completion, I know that this duty doesn't fall onto this committee, but keeping in mind that if you do fall in any of the committees that's like municipal or committees, to keep in mind that we also have to maintain that area as beautiful as we can. By that I mean cleaning up and policing it and allowing that area to thrive as a public space, in other words. It was brought to my attention by a resident that a portion of the CalSAC trail that sits by the by the James and Ann Street is right now inundated with obviously kids spray painting and just keeping the area not to its best potential. So I did ask Jim Polster at the Public Works to take care of that area and put it on the schedule. But as we move forward with this project, that's going to be something that we're just going to have to continuously keep an eye on and you know, keep beautiful, in other words.
I like to agree with Alderman Cazares. I did the trail a few times now between Phase Point and Halsted. It's like another world, and I know we cut it a couple times last summer. I think we're planning, we've cut it at least once this summer already. But once it's completed at the end of the summer, along with the MWRD park, the waterfall park, we need to have a long-term plan on how we're going to maintain these properties, because they're unknown, unseen gem. If they're done right, it's just, you don't think you're in Blue Island at either one of these locations. Calsag Trail by Phase Point and the waterfall park. And it's just, it could look so much better. So I think we need to work on something going forward on how we're going to maintain this once trail's completed this summer. Like, it has to be kind of combined together, the trail and MWRD park. In the better way, the Public Works is going to do it, or we're going to figure out another option to maintain it better, because it's
Public
just,
Works is not going to do it.
I know, Alderman Hawley, we go back and forth on this. We have to do something. And if we have to expand on the program like we're doing with these 3 locations and doubling it up for next year, or going all out next year and maintain everything, we have to figure out a way to do it. The bad part about that, only TIF funds available for this trail and MWRD park and not business district funds. So it's a longer discussion, but something's got to be done. It's a beautiful area. It's just not maintained how it should be. So just me, on a soapbox right now. Any other aldermen and concerns, questions, suggestions?
Do we know when the Dollar Tree is going to open?
Howard or Ahmed?
They're still working on improvements on the parking lot.
They're thinking actually they're opening on the 16th.
Right.
So far, I did inspection today. I did the inside. We still have to go through the fence. There's several items that have to be taken care of on the outside landscaping. So, but their goal is to open up the 16th.
And what about the Passport restaurant?
Passport? You mean edible passport?
Yes.
Those people that have never come up forward and to try to follow up on anything. I have it in the bin, actually. Nobody have contacted me on that.
They'll be contacting you tomorrow after the approval of the awning. I like to mention one thing. I know most people already forgot. The mural at Mami Chayo, Black Lives Matter, that was never reviewed by anyone in this committee or by anyone. It's just an observation. It's there, just mentioning it to the public.
Yeah, and there's nothing we have in our books that say we can deny a non-controversial or non-obscene, I think is the word, but they just never brought it to our attention. A few people have asked me, do we approve it? I said, no, but I don't think there's anything that stops us, correct, in our code to approve or disapprove a mural as long as it's not obscene. Yeah.
I wouldn't think so. Do we have to approve every mural? I don't even know.
I'd like to, but I don't think we can.
Yeah, I would like to too, but I'm sure,
I know, I just think almost the exact same one. It's funny because as soon as it went up, I went to Dubuque, Galena, Dubuque, and they painted a half of a block, almost exactly the same mural. And it was just, it's the movement that's going on right now, but it was posted on their chamber and on their Dubuque travel Facebook page, and just surprising because Dubuque, it's not, south side of Chicago. But no, I don't think we can stop anybody as long as it's not obscene. I think the obscene is the word there. It cannot be obscene,
Right.
So there's a line there. We got to judge it when it's crossed, but I don't think it's been crossed, in my opinion.
Hurry.
All right. Any other questions or suggestions?
Yeah.
Just
There's
Alderman Hawley?
I think there's a new restaurant going in where Imelda's was, and they have the sidewalk blocked off. Is that going to open up anytime soon, or is there plans? Has anybody been in touch with them? It's been about 2 or 3 weeks.
Ahmed, this would be the restaurant between York and Vermont Street on the west side of the street. Next to-
Oh, yes, as a matter of fact, Randy mentioned that the other day because they blocked the street. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh no, there's still quite a bit to go because right now what they did is the service, they came into a building in order to provide a sprinkler system. So they still have a little way to go because well, they're working on it. It's not even close to open up yet.
Well, I know the business isn't. I'm talking about the sidewalk, which is blocked off there.
Yes, it's already, they open it up and sometime this week they should be finishing the whole entire, closing that and removing everything from the sidewalk. Yes.
All right, thanks.
Any other aldermen?
Yeah, just so everybody knows that the city did give me approval to have the farmer's market, like us, just the farmer, but I cannot get a hold of Metro South or the new owners. So Howard's going to help me tomorrow, try to get a hold of them.
Okay.
And do we require security at the stores, or like Beggars has a security guard all the time? Or is it up to each business owner? So like the Dollar Tree, are we requiring them to have security, or?
I think it's up to the business owner. I don't know
Up to the business owner.
I don't think there's anything other than the
No,
cannabis.
I know Beggars has one. I was just wondering if who does that?
Yeah.
If it's a business owner?
Yes.
I just want to restate on the Dollar Tree, even though as long as a business or any business, not just Dollar Tree, applies by our zoning codes and go through the right channels, we can't deny a business coming to town. So, on the same venture, I don't go to Dollar Tree. A lot of people do. There's an article that came out recently about Dollar General and Family Dollar. And in the article, way at the bottom, it said Dollar Tree was the exception to the article, saying it mostly opens up in middle-class suburban towns. It doesn't have the same crime fallback as Dollar Generals and Family Dollar. It was in the same article that was being spread around, but it was way down in there. And if you don't know the difference between Dollar Tree, it's a real dollar store. I've been in one, I just don't frequent it often. It's a real dollar store that's corporately managed and owned and yada, yada, similar to a Walgreens or anything. Unlike the Dollar Generals and Family Dollars, which have multiple products and it's more of a quick stop. So just my
Dollar
two
Trees are usually much nicer.
Yeah, and that's what I've been when the first came out that this was going out, I got so much positive feedback. It surprised me because I usually tend to be on the negative side, and it surprised me how many people were reaching out and positive of this coming to town. Not to mention the location's been empty and yada. We all know the obvious, but they shop at Dollar Tree in Marinette Park or Alsip or Crestwood. Now we can come right here in town and spend our money in town, and it was from all different demographic. Black, white, Mexican, older, younger, I got it all. And it was, I get complaints a lot, but there was a lot of positive phone calls I got too. So just getting it off my chest now that's probably a good thing. Do I think they need security? Then I would say security would have to be at every single half fake dollar store we have in town. That's not a real chain or a corporate entity. But I don't think anything's in the books outside of what we put into an ordinance recently with the cannabis. I think a business hires security based on their own needs. Or a recommendation, like a bar. I know a liquor commissioner can make recommendations because he can pull their liquor license. But without a liquor license and without it being in an ordinance, there's no authority we have to request those things. I believe I'm correct. Howard, does that sound correct?
Yeah, it's not a planning or zoning issue, so it would be outside of my scope.
Yeah. So I hope that answers the question.
Yep.
Any other questions or concerns?
Alderman Bilotto.
Alderman Alexander?
Yes, I love Dollar Tree.
Fred's gonna like it too because his daughter's gonna shop there.
Yeah, that's maybe it. Maybe I don't do a lot of parties, right? And that's what people are telling me. Oh, they got all this party stuff and balloons and cutlery and stuff. I don't buy that stuff. I got a box.
Just watch. Wait, you don't buy it yet. Watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but I received an email from a resident with a complaint, and I just wanted to share the complaint. I'm not sure if we can do anything about it, but at least I can reply back to the resident. They were complaining about a sign that they saw in Harry Long Bar, and the sign said free beer at the top, and at the bottom it said Pritzker sucks. Yeah, so they were complaining about this sign.
So
the free beer sign's been there forever. I don't know about the Pritzker sign.
Yeah, free beer tomorrow. I'm not aware of the Pritzker sign, but I know he has a sign. It's been there forever. It says free beer tomorrow. And the
Yeah.
joke is you come in there and he said, yeah, tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Now the
well,
Pritzker sign is new. I'll drive by and take a look. I mean, but
I haven't seen it either.
another bar, here's the thing. And a bar owner asked me asked if permission to hang a United States flag in the front. I said, I talked to Howard first, as long as it's not part of the sign code. I said, as long as it's an American flag, it's not advertisement, it's your right to put the American flag up. It's the American flag. A business owner is entitled to put whatever signs they want. It's their jeopardy if they want to isolate customers or not. It's on them. But as long as it's not obscene, they're entitled to put anything they want in front of their business. As long as it's following the sign code and it's not obscene. It's like that mural on the side of the taco place on Western there. It's not obscene. It's her opinion, and she's entitled to her opinion, and it's private property. At the end of the day, there's still private property, you know.
Yeah, it's a free speech issue.
Yeah. So, but I'm not aware of the sign. I'll go by and take a look. It wouldn't surprise me. You know, I know how the bar and business restaurant owners feel about the COVID restrictions, and I'm not ignorant of that fact. So,
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's entitled to his opinion. If somebody doesn't like the sign, they don't have to patronize his bar. You know,
Right.
that's the end of the
okay,
day.
I just want to make sure, like I said before, I reply back to the resident. So.
Yeah, I'll go drive by out of curiosity, though, Alderman. I'm curious to see what it says. So, I know they're not
Well, I've
related. The free beer
I've
stuff.
seen them around at bars and stuff, and it pretty much just says Pritzker sucks. That's
There you
about it.
All right. Any
But like
other
you said,
comments or
a lot of
concerns?
businesses are.
Any other comments or concerns, or we'll call it a night?
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Motion by Cantello. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Cazares. All right. Our next meeting next month, unless we need to meet earlier, Howard or somebody will let me know if there's a pressing issue. And you guys stay safe, and I'll talk to you guys next month. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.